Eagles fans, if you're a subscriber to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, you are already registered to win a pair of season tickets for the upcoming season. That's right, you could win a pair of season tickets for the upcoming 2021 season just for being a subscriber. If you're watching and you're not a subscriber, do it now. Subscribe to the JAKIB Media YouTube channel right now. What do you need to do? Subscribe right now.
It is Birds 365. You got Jody Mack and Jeff Kerr in for John McMullen. In case you missed John McMullen, well, you got to go back. You can always rewatch it, right? That's the beauty of YouTube. If you don't get on exactly when we're doing it live, it's there forever. You can always go back and watch it. And Johnny Mack was almost at the top of the show. He's got COVID testing responsibilities today, so that's why he was with us right off the bat. But Jeff has been hanging with me and will hang with me here for hour number 2. Paul Domowitz is going to join us in less than 20 minutes now. So stick around for Domo, who did an outstanding final column this week. I do want to ask Domo about it because I think it's got to be one of the hardest columns you ever write, but it's also one of the easiest columns you ever write because you've been prepping for it your entire life. You know it's coming at some point. We'll get into that with Domo when he gets here. But back to the Birds. Jeff, they open up in Atlanta this week. You mentioned earlier that you don't think the Falcons are going to be all that good a team this year. Nor do I. I made my official predictions on all the teams in the National Football League this week, and I have the Falcons with one of the worst records. That's one of the reasons why I think the Eagles can have a decent record this year is it's tough to win games on the road in the National Football League, but they've got both the Falcons and the Lions on the road this year. If there are road games you can win, it's against Atlanta and Detroit because I think they're going to be two of the worst teams in the NFC this season. So that plays to the Eagles' advantage. The first ever game of the Nick Sirianni era is going to be on the road. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, the Eagles don't have a good history of opening seasons in Atlanta, do they, Jody? Because 2015, I thought they were going to roll over a Falcons team with Sam Bradford, and remember they had that exciting preseason with Chip Kelly, and yeah, that didn't go over too well. And in my opinion, they got upset that game, and it kind of set the tone for the season. And same with 2005. Remember the whole Jeremiah Trotter got ejected, and Don McNabb got speared on a cheap shot, and Eagles ended up losing that Monday Night Football game. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly a great sign for a team.
That's right. It was a Monday nighter. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I kept saying to myself, that's not a great sign for a team that won 4 straight NFC East titles, made 4 straight conference championship appearances, and had all this offseason drama. I thought they needed that game, and lo and behold, they go 6-10. So I hate when the Eagles open in Atlanta. It seems like they always open here in Atlanta or they play the Falcons. I feel like it's a once in every 3-year tradition at this point. Schedule makers are getting lazy. But, yeah, this is a game they have to win. And, I was doing some prep for the Falcons this week, and I was kind of laughing at myself. I'm like, who's on this defense that I know? And a lot of those guys left. The Keanu Neals of the world. He's on the Cowboys because Dan Quinn's not there anymore. Vic Beasley has been gone for a while now. And, Grady Jarrett's still there. But overall, this defense should not be good. And I know we like to not talk great about the Eagles wide receivers, but they should have Devonta Smith and Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor. They probably should have a good day against this secondary. And again, the offensive line just beats out the Falcons' defense. There are 2 guys. There are 4 guys I worry about on this team, and unfortunately, it might be the Eagles' biggest weakness, at least on defense. And this is crazy because their linebackers are actually pretty good. So Matt Ryan, Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage. Those are the 4 guys I worry about on this Falcons team, and they can beat you.
Understood. And you made the Grady Jarrett point. He has been one of their defensive stalwarts for the last several years. And I would the NFL had its top 100 player ranking that on the NFL Network, the Eagles did okay. They actually landed 3 guys, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, and Brandon Graham. They took an O for ESPN, their top 100. So make of that what you will. But Grady Jarrett was on both outlets top 100 because he is one of the better DTs and can get pressure onto the quarterback from the interior line. There's a reason he doesn't scare me and this may be some wishful thinking, but sorry, that's what I'm going to do leading into the kickoff of the Eagles season. The interior of the Eagles line is a strength. That's not where I think the Eagles are going to get beat up this year. You've got perennial Pro Bowler snapping the football, and you got two damn good guards. We'll see what Brandon Brooks comes back at. From everything that's being reported, he looks as athletic and sturdy and ready to go as before his most recent injury. And Isaac Seumalo's damn good left guard, if they're going to move him around on that defensive line. I do not think that's going to be a problem with the Eagles this year, handling other teams' good DTs. I think they're going to be able to do that because the guys they got on the offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. I think that's going to be the huge difference in this game. Even if Jalen Hurts does get pressured, I think he's going to be able to run away from it because I don't know if anybody on the Falcons can actually stop him. Look, this could be like one of those games where, and we saw this a lot last year, Jody, when Jalen Hurts just kind of went off. You know, I know I'm going a little bit fantasy-wise here, but overall, he threw for 300 yards and rushed for 60 yards in 2 of his 4 starts and 2 of his 3 full starts. It's insane to think he could have a big stat game on Sunday. And because I just don't know if there's anybody on this Falcons team that could stop. Now, again, they could surprise me completely. And again, I do think Arthur Smith is a really good football coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. But I kind of leveled off on this Falcons team a bit. I thought they could have been a surprise. And then they traded Julio Jones. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you draft Kyle Pitts if you're going to get rid of Julio Jones? And they said they knew about, okay, fine. Why do you still draft Kyle Pitts? Why don't you just reset the franchise? I know Matt Ryan's a franchise quarterback, but you could have got something for him. It's not like he's a bad football player by any stretch of the imagination. In my opinion, he's still a top 10 quarterback. He just is the quarterback for the Falcons. So they just made a lot of questionable decisions since that Super Bowl loss, Jody. And I don't know. This is why I'm so high on Tampa Bay this year is because who's going to beat them in that division?
No, I made my predictions over the weekend. I got them written down here somewhere. I had Tampa winning the division by like a minimum of 4 games. If they're going to win 12, I don't think there's another team that's going to be above 500 in this division. I think everybody's going to be below. I think New Orleans is below 500. I think Atlanta's bad. I think Carolina's got a chance to be as good. I don't know about that much better with Sam Darnold over Teddy Bridgewater. I do like Matt Rule, and I think he's a real good fan. I'll say this about the Panthers, and I know we're getting a little far afield. We'll come back to the Birds here in a second. They lost so many games that hung in the balance last year. The Panthers were within 1 score in the fourth quarter, I think, of 14 out of their 16 games. I think there was only 2 games where they were behind by 8 points, 9 points or more in the fourth quarter and never got any closer than that. They just didn't know how to finish. If you're a Carolina fan or a Matt Rule fan, you just believe, well, they're going to be better at it this year. I hope that's the case because I like Matt Rule as much as I do. I don't know that that's the case. That's why I got Carolina back under 500 again. I think you're dead on right. I think it's a weak division the Falcons are in.
Yeah, and in a way, if you're a Panthers fan, and I know we're going a little bit off topic here, but it kind of feels like the 2016 Eagles. Remember, they lost a bunch of 1-score games. I think they were like 1-7, 1-8, 1-score game. And then all of a sudden, the next year, boom, they go 13-3 and they win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Carolina is going to do that because the Saints in 2009 and the Eagles in 2017 are the only 2 teams since realignment to finish last in the division the year prior and then win the Super Bowl. But, I mean, if Sam Darnold is what they think he can be with that offense, and Terrence Marshall, I think, is going to be a stud, by the way. Carolina could surprise some people, but they're not beating Tampa in that division. That's the thing. When everybody was like kind of writing off Tampa Bay after they lost to Kansas City and went to the bye week, I'm like, hold on a second. You got Atlanta twice. You got Detroit. You got Carolina. They're going to be completely fine. They're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to miss it. And it might be a springboard to something. And lo and behold, they won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that NFC South. I'm honestly not a big fan of any NFC division outside of the NFC West this year.
Yeah, I think the NFC West does kind of lap over all 3 of the other divisions. You made the point about the 2016 and the 2017 Eagles. I talk to enough Eagle fans when I do my radio shows to know that I had no idea there were so many fans that before that year started knew the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl, because I don't quite remember it that way. It did kind of come out of left field. And more power to the Eagles for being able to pull that off, Doug Peterson at all. But they weren't. Nobody was talking about a Super Bowl before 2017 started. That's just the way it played out, which was probably pretty damn exciting if you're an Eagles fan, if you've been an Eagle fan for 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 60 years. The way that it played out, I would think would be more exciting.
Yeah,
Should the Eagle fans go down that road again? Because they're coming from last to first again if they're going to make a run. It was as cool and as uplifting, as out of left field as it was. That's one of the beauties of the National Football League, is that you can just turn the page when the season's over and sprinkle optimism all over everything the next year. If Eagle fans are talking Super Bowl this year, should we try and reel them in, or just say, hey, yeah, you're right. Nobody picked 2017 a couple of years ago.
So maybe not Super Bowl, but I'm going to get Eagles fans really excited here because I like to do that stuff with teams. And because this is week 1, did you know every time since realignment the Eagles finished last in the NFC East, the next year they finished first? Every single time. So it would not shock me if they won the NFC East this year, because this division is not good. Washington is my pick to win the East. And I know I'm going out on a limb here, picking a repeat NFC East champion, but I really like their defense. But if I'm worried about Washington, I don't know if Ryan Fitzpatrick could play 17 games this season. I don't know if he can make the playoffs. He's never made the playoffs before in his life, so why make it in year 17, right? Dallas is Dallas. They always seem to find a way to bite themselves in the foot. The Giants, I think, are actually going to be the last place team in the NFC East. I'm not a fan of that football team at all because of Daniel Jones and their offensive line, even though their defense is really, really good. And again, the Eagles are an unknown, and they have a new head coach. They have a quarterback who I think is a winner, and I think ultimately he can get them 8-9 wins if he plays well. It all depends on how the offensive line goes and how the defensive line goes, and how much pressure the defensive line can get on the quarterback, Jody. So this is what I'm looking at right now.
Sounded like I'm sorry if I interrupt you, Jeff. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just about to finish out. I just would not be surprised if Philadelphia would win the division this year just based on history. 2016, 2012. What was the other year? 2007. No, it wasn't 2005. 2005. So, yeah, every time the Eagles finish last in the division, or they make the playoffs the next year and win the division. It's actually crazy.
So it's been the last 3 times the Eagles have finished last. The previous year, they've turned around and won the division the year after.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good stat. It's not trending from one year to the next. It's over a lengthy period of time. But 3 for 3 is 3 for 3. Anytime you're 3 for 3 at anything, that's usually a pretty darn good sign. All right, he is Jeff Kerr. I'm Jody McDonald. We are the Birds 365 guys today. Coming up next, we're hoping to be joined by Paul Domowitch, who's only been covering this team for 3 decades. He is the Hall of Fame voter and plans on staying that this year. Got a bunch of things we want to talk to Damo about. The fact that he wrote his last column for the Daily News this past week, and what he's going to be doing on Sundays this year. Because he doesn't have to be down at the ballpark each and every single week. I think he's got some grandpa duties, which he's looking forward to. But we'll talk Eagles football with Paul Domowitch next here on Birds 365.